Hi, I'm looking for Dusty, please.
This is Dustin. How you doing today?
Oh, Dustin. Hi, this is Lita.
Yeah, it's great to be speaking with you.
Oh, thank you. A pleasure to speak to you, too.
Well, I'll ask you right away about the new book, Living Like a Runaway. What made you decide to write this one finally after all these years?
Yeah, just being a chick in the music industry, you see all these autobiographical stories about these guys in the music industry. I just wanted to show my story from a female perspective as a guitar player, as somebody that's been around for, I think it's 4 decades now in the music industry. I had my first album out when I was 17, and it's been 40 years, so I've got quite the journey and quite the story to tell, the hurdles I had to jump as a female in a man's world, that kind of good stuff. So I think it's something that a lot of people would enjoy to read. A lot of trials and tribulations of all kinds of different things, not just sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Yeah, for sure. I know you've had a lot go on, not only in your career, but your personal life as well. Was it difficult, I guess, to go back and revisit some of this stuff in your past when you were putting the book together?
Some of it was, yeah. Some of it was funny. Just really funny, just to the point where I was crying. I was laughing so hard. There's some really great stories in there, and then of course some of it is draining because you've got to go back to a place where it's painful, and those were the ones that were really draining and exhausting. But you've got to go back over those in order to put them in the book. Like losing my parents to cancer. Having to remember that, and of course my divorce and my children, being alienated from my children.
So I'm sure it must be a bit cathartic, though, in a way, to get all that stuff out on paper.
It's turning out that way, yes, it is. I mean, it's not like you just write it down and then you feel better. It's good that it's out and it's on. These different magazines are picking it up. Yesterday or today, it's still number 1 in Amazon's Best Rock Bios, and that's fantastic to see. So it's a good read. I haven't gotten any negative feedback so far from anybody, so I'm very happy with that.
Excellent. Yeah, it's definitely, if someone's story should be told, you would be one of them for sure. And I got to ask, you mentioned starting out in the Runaways when you were still a teenager, but did you guys have really any idea that you were, kind of paving the way or influencing so many people that would come down the line later on?
Well, the Runaways were, we were very, very before our time. We didn't think that we would influence other musicians later on down the line because we were just too busy trying to get through the moment of the punk era, And Rolling Stone just released a clip of the book, a page and a half, and that page and a half talks about the punk era, the Sex Pistols, growing up with these different bands, and getting to play and jam with these different bands was just awesome. But did we think we would be trailblazers at that young of an age? No, we did not. But by the time I was finished with the Runaways and they had broke up, I was ready to start my solo career. I was nowhere near ready to be finished with the music industry.
Yeah, you were obviously still very young when you left the group as well. Were you ever maybe second-guessing that choice, or did you know for sure you were going to go out and you were going to make it on your own?
No, I never second-guessed anything. I knew exactly what I was doing, and I knew exactly. I followed my vision of what I heard and what I saw in my future, and going through the Runaways was almost like going through college to learn how to be whatever it is that you want to be in life. And mine was heavy metal rock and roll. So as a guitar player and as a female, it was a challenge. It still is.
Yeah, of course. Especially back then when you branched out, that kind of scene was mostly a boys' club, I guess you could call it. So, I mean, what was the vibe like for you and some of the other guys in the scene? Was it kind of tough for you to gain respect and be seen as an equal?
Uh, Not real. I mean, it was for some people. Some people would give me a bad, girls don't play guitar. They would give me some cocky attitude, but mostly my fellow musicians were very supportive. Record companies were so, they would say, Lita, take some of that makeup off or put some pants on and I would just say, no, that's not who I am. I'm not this little goody two shoes, I'm a rock and roll guitar slinging chick. And that's who I am. If it doesn't work for you, then maybe I'm on the wrong record label. So I had to fight to be who I am. I had to fight to get over those hurdles and learn how to stick up for myself and take no crap from people who were trying to create somebody that they saw in a different light. It was a journey.
Yeah, awesome. And of course, all this stuff in the new book, Living Like a Runaway. I got to ask you, Lita, your memories of working with Ozzy Osbourne. That was such a huge hit back when that one came out.
Yeah, I had great memories of working with Ozzy. Mike Chapman was the producer on the project. Mike Chapman has written most everybody's favorite songs, at least back in that era. And I remember he put us in the recording studio face to face with a sheet of plexiglass in between us to divide the sound of our voices. And Ozzy was just such a talent. His vocals were amazing. I mean, just the part that, oh, is what it seems when you're face to face with me. And I thought it's got to be pretty hard to hit those notes. But I mean, he hit him with no problem. He's truly a talent.
Well, you mentioned being in the business for 4 decades now. I guess, what are your thoughts on the rock scene now and, women being kind of more prominent in the scene, as definitely more so than they were when you were back in the early days?
I think the Runaways carved the path for these women. And obviously, if you look at some of them, they almost look identical to us, which is great. I'm very happy about it, and glad that there's more women today in the rock scene. But I think the Runaways carved the path, and now the other girls get to walk it, and I'm sure they still have their ups and downs because it's a man's world. It always will be, I think. And us women, we have to stick together, so it's a challenge. But I love a good challenge.
Well, and the new book, Living Like a Runaway, I know you had a Pledge Music or a Kickstarter campaign. I think a lot of bands are doing that now to put records out. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that? I guess it's kind of a lot different than it was.
This is the first time we've ever done pledgemusic.com. So we're finding it to be amazing. The books are flying out the door, and the new record, Time Capsule. You can get guitars, you can get merchandise. Pledge Music is great. It's really great for us. It's been great so far.
Yeah, it kind of seems like the bands are able to get their records out to the people, and you kind of cut out the giant labels and the middlemen, in a sense. Yeah.
It's really one-on-one. But I want people to know that this book, Living Like a Runaway, is not about the Runaways. It's not about... it brushes over the Runaways era. It brushes over being in the Runaways. It talks about my ups and downs of being in the band and my feelings about what happened in the band and what didn't happen in the band. I talk a lot about Kim Fowley. But the book itself is not just about the Runaways because of the title being Living Like a Runaway. It goes way beyond the Runaways. There's so many other stories in there, and like I said, it's not just about the Runaways. So there's a lot of cool different stories that I had encountered along the way after the Runaways broke up that people don't know about.
Well, and I know you are on a book tour now, promoting the book, and you're also on tour with your band. So I mean, you're still out there doing it for sure.
Yes, we got a lot of great things going on. We start with Hailstorm on April the 1st. We're going to be on I think it's 6 weeks with Hailstorm. The dates keep rolling in. We just got another week added. And then we have a record coming out on April the 15th. It's called Lita Ford's Time Capsule. And what that is really a moment in time from the 80s that has all these amazing musicians on these songs that I had 24-track tapes of demos that we did ages ago just for fun. We went in the recording studio and just had a blast. And I had all these great songs, great musicians, and I wanted to give it back to the fans because I know a lot of people didn't get to live through the 80s, and a lot of people that did live through the 80s missed the 80s. So it's just a little piece of rock and roll history that I want to give back to the fans. So that's Lita Ford's Time Capsule, which will be released on April 15th. And then we've got the tour starting April 1st. And then right now we're doing pledgemusic.com/Lita Ford, where you can get all kinds of goodies, meet and greet packages, the book, the album. And then now, of course, the book was just dropped and released on February the 23rd. So try and check out the entire book. It's really, really good from beginning to end. Amazon voted it number 1, 4 stars, 5 stars. Is it 5 stars on Amazon? Yeah, 5 stars. So we're in a good place.
Well, again, the book "Living Like a Runaway" is available now, and you mentioned the Time Capsule album is coming out soon. And just head to the Pledge Music site, and your website will have all the details. And everybody is going to have a lot of stuff to look forward to you coming up down the road here.
Yes, Barnes & Noble has the book. Amazon has the book. It's pretty easy to find. Your local bookshop can get it. If they don't have it, they can get it for you. So Pledge Music, yep.
Excellent. Again, Lita, it's been an honor speaking with you today. Thanks so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.